Hey, today was a good day. I didn't have to use my AK. I went over to Shelinda's house and I put the thing on her and I put her ass to sleep because my Jimmy go deep, so deep. My Jimmy go deep. This is the meat I bought from those Chinese people. And it had a bad smell. Starting off. You see, I can't let this blender go to waste. And I did my magic on it, my voodoo. I put the salt, the pepper, the onions, and the garlic. You gotta have garlic in pork. And I usually like to go to that Chinese market. I haven't been there in a long time, maybe over 5 years. But something I noticed today, it was not as vibrant as it used to be. And a lot of the fish looked like it was rotten. And the man who was working there didn't speak any English. He only spoke Chinese, so he might be an indentured laborer they smuggled from China. Then the other man I spoke to who seemed to be in charge, seemed like he was a member of the People's Liberation Army, part of a fifth column sent to undermine the United States of America. If I should die from eating this meat, know that I was poisoned by the Chinese. However, I'd always been fond of this. This is rib tips, and this is stew pork. And the Chinese, when it comes to meat and different varieties of things, I must admit that they have a very interesting collection, as you'll see on my other production, of what I witnessed at the store and what I recorded. I'll try to add this video to it so you can see what I actually took out of there. I got some pork, and I'm going to now, what time is it? It's only 10:15. So I'm going to put this pork to boil, because if I don't boil it, it probably won't survive. It'll probably spoil, because I think it is, it is halfway spoiled already anyway. Hopefully the salt preserved it enough. So anyway, as you know, this is my beautiful kitchen, where if your kitchen isn't okay, I have all these eggs, and when I grew up, I never knew eggs to spoil or expire, but they say they have an expiration date, so I try to put them in here to boil them and make them into hard-boiled eggs. Well, I need to talk to my mother, because she's the one who knows the real technique, how you could boil some eggs and they won't crack up on you and get that wild white film. So anyway, I've got a lot going on. I mean, I've got the most fucking interesting life in the whole fucking world. That old bastard on the TV that say he's the most interesting man in the world. He ain't the most interesting man in the world. Pope Emmanuel is the most fucking interesting man in the world. I am. So what I'm going to do now, you know what? I've decided I'm going to use this pot. I'm going to use this pot, my son's pot that his friend gave him. And he had taken it away. I don't know where, I guess it's non-stick. You know, they say that shit is made up of never-ending, never decaying chemicals that get in your body and fuck you up. Well, I'm already fucked up. They came and tried to get me to say that I'm fucked up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this pot so I can get the Teflon in my body. You see, when you get Teflon in your body, it's very difficult for them to catch you. I put a little oil in here. I'm going to put a little oil in here, right? And then I'm going to go over here in my beautiful pantry. My pantry is so beautiful. It's got different colors. You see, it's got, well, no, it's not that many different colors, just brown. Patron did this for me. Patron was a very dedicated worker when I met him. He did a great job. I will never forget him. I'll always remember him, because every time I look at the paint job he did for me, one side yellow, all kind of orange, and we painted the house red, white, and blue. And those hypocrites, they came and they sued me. And now that I'm asking them about these roofs they're putting up, they want to send the police to get me and to declare me to be a nuthead. Well, guess what? Of course I'm troublesome. Of course I'm troublesome. As most of you know, I'm a world-renowned scientist. Okay? You see this? You don't leave it like this because it could fall and break. So you have to change the configuration of how you put it there. Now, here's the problem. My sink is still clogged, and I haven't come up with a final solution or a permanent solution, whatever solution you want to call it. But anyway, is that pot big enough for what I'm trying to do? I'm not sure. This little pot right here, is it big enough? What else do we have? Do we have another pot? No, this is a big pot. And then we have a big pot here. But I don't want to use that pot. You know what? I'm going to do it in this little pot anyway. So over here, I put a little oil with the sugar, right? But I think you can caramelize. That's what Mimi used to call it. We always call it brown chicken or stewed chicken. What the right term is caramelize. So I'm going to caramelize the Chinese pork. You see, if you buy pork from the Chinese, it's Chinese pork. If you buy meat from the Indians, it's Indian meat. If you buy meat from Kroger, it's Jewish meat, it's white people's meat. So whatever it is, that's what it is. Or should I just do everything in one pot? Just mix it up. I mean, I've got some stew type meat, and I've got some rib tips. I really love the rib tips. I think I'll just mix them. Well, what if, let's see. Sometimes meat may smell bad because of the blood, but I do believe that those Chinese people are not keeping this meat at the right temperature. I think they're cutting corners, and I'm going to find out tonight. The problem with buying things from the Chinese, you can't take it back. You can't complain. There is no customer service because they're just a group of peasant people. That's 40 years ago, they were all peasants. And now they've came up in the world. And so in a peasant society, you can't demand customer service. You can't ask for anything. You take what you get. You buy, you pay. You break, you pay. Okay, as you can see here, this here sugar is burning up. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. You see that? It's burning up. No oil, no nothing. Now you put a little drop of olive oil in it. You see what will happen. Okay, so it's caramelized. Okay? One thing you don't want is for your sugar to burn. You don't want it to burn. I think. Is this one burnt? Is it burnt? Well, the meat is already fucked up. So, even if you give it some burnt ash, what am I going to put in this one? I'm going to put the little tips in here. Okay, so I'm going to put that in here. Look at now, look at this one. Oh, this one is perfect. Look at that. I'm just going to dump this. I'm just going to dump this in here. Okay? So I'm going to dump that in here. And I'm going to take the cover and put it on it. I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit. And on this one, I'm going to turn the heat up a little more. Now the Chinese man in charge told me that Hong Kong is China. That's what he said. Hong Kong is China and Taiwan is China. I think I have it on the video. You can see it. If you don't see it, I don't know what I did. But as you can see here, your warrior leader, I'm boiling the eggs because I never knew eggs used to expire. Because growing up, I just used to go in the yard and the wild chickens would lay their eggs. And whenever I found a place where chickens laid eggs, I'd go there and get eggs. And we'd have food. So now you see I got this on high. I got this on high so that it can keep caramelizing the meat. This time I'll leave this way and just be extra careful. And so I will move this meat around so that all of it can get the color. You see, we like color in everything. We don't like things that are bland and white. You know, just like a white pussy. You know, just bland and white. No lips, no clit, no nothing. We like to brown our food. We like to paint our house different colors. But those people around here, they're putting on roofs without approval. They're putting on everything they're doing. And they think they're going to get away with it. But they don't know the voodoo master has a plan for them. Okay, this one is doing really well with the way that it's perking up. And you see it's got all the color, right? So you can mix it up a little bit so that the rest of the meat will get some of that color. Okay? And you need to keep it at the high temperature for a while so that it can free up the water, the moisture from the meat. The meat will make its own gravy by releasing the water in the cells. So you don't have to add any water to your meat. You don't add no water to it. You just let it boil. And then you'll find out that it will make its own gravy, and it will produce its own water. You know, so that's what's going on here. Oh, okay, I got to get this pot on here right. Okay, so this is what we're doing, and this was my day today. Today is the what is it? The 10th, the 11th, the 12th of July. It's so hot, like Stevie Wonder said, hotter than July in one of his songs, and I think today was recorded as one of the hottest days in the history of the United States of America, and probably a lot of other places around the world. Because God, who is man, have fucked with everything. He has even come to the point now where he can create life in a test tube. He can create cells that'll make chicken for you without having a chicken. He can grow beef in a test tube, and soon he'll create life without a sperm and without an egg. There will be no need for an embryo. That is the power of God. People keep telling you to think that God is some mumbo-jumbo person up in the sky. But man is God and God is man. And that's why these changes are happening, because we have manipulated this earth and changed its consistency and its constituency. And that's why we have these extremities in climatic conditions. This is one of the things I purchased yesterday from the Indian store. I couldn't buy a lot of things. I'll probably try this tonight. Just add hot water and see how it feels before I go to bed. But what I wanted to tell you is that I patronize the Indians, I patronize the Chinese. I was saying about this here tea that I bought. And what was my trend of thought? I've forgotten what I was going to tell you. But what I'm saying to you is that when I went to that Indian store, unlike the Chinese store today, I mean, maybe it's midweek and it was 107 degrees, so the Chinese people didn't come out. But one thing I do know is that at the Indian store, it was packed with Indians, just Indians. No white people, no black people, no Vietnamese people, only Indians. Oh, I was going to tell you, the stuff is so expensive. I used to think the Caribbean restaurants were expensive. I used to think the Caribbean places to buy Caribbean food was expensive until I see how expensive the Indians are. And here's the thing. The Indians don't complain. Because if you ask them what they do, they say, I work IT. IT. They're all here and saying they're IT. They're IT. They have these well-paying jobs in the new slavery of the 21st century in the software development industry. They're new slaves who come mostly from India. They get paid. This was like after slavery. After slavery, they had indentured laborers. When these indentured laborers came, they were paid a wage. So they got a head start on the Negro. So if you go to Trinidad, if you go to Guyana, you'll see, if you go to French Guiana, you'll see that all the Indians who were brought there as indentured laborers, they have land, they have businesses, they have economic power, while the Negroes who are there as civil servants working for the government. Okay? And then they always talk about the Negro. They say all the Negro want to do is party. They call it fete. In Trinidad and in the Caribbean, they call it fete. And it's true. A Negro will wake up at 12 a.m. in the morning to go to a fete. And that fete will last till the sun come up. They got songs about it. And then that Negro, if you call him and say you've got a business plan, that you want to discuss some business with him, I tell you something. I don't care if this pork is half spoiled, but those Chinese people, they know how to harvest every goddamn thing on man's earth. And, you know, they eat all the animals from Africa, spread COVID-19. That's why they're still wearing masks. They know how COVID-19 was. And guess what? When you pour, just like the people from South India, I have to check the settings on my camera to see if it's set to cut off after filming for so much. Because I was telling you about the Indians and the fact that they don't need nobody to come to their store because they themselves are going to go there. I like the skin on the pork, by the way. And I was telling you that even if this meat is bad, I'm going to eat it. Because I'm going to boil the hell out of it to kill the bacteria. But also, it just looked very tasty, very porky. And the Chinese believe if you eat some, you get its qualities. So I was telling the Chinese are very interesting because they eat every goddamn thing that is on man's earth. You know? And I saw that man today. I think they must have new management at that store. Because the way that man was interacting with the worker, and the worker, you know, this is the United States of America. You at least have workers who can speak some form of English, not just Mandarin Chinese. So that man could be an indentured, captured Chinese laborer that they brought smuggled here in a container. They smuggled him in a container, and he has to work indentured. Oh, I was also telling you about the indentured period after slavery. That's how the Indians got a jump on the Negroes in Trinidad and Guyana and other places of South America, because when the Indians came, they came as indentured laborers. So they were being paid. The Negro was never paid. And then after emancipation come, you see all this water? I told you how the meat will create its own water. And that's why you don't add water to meat, because it's going to create its own water. Look at all that water it's just created. I need to have a shirt next time I'm cooking to protect my lovely skin from getting burnt. But anyway, I'm telling you, these are my eggs. I don't know, do I need to... it smells so porky. I think I need to put some in you to get rid of that porky smell. Because I believe that the way China is going to conquer the United States is by all that Chinese food they're feeding us with the high salt and all the poison that's in it. And a lot of our people, they like to go to Tammy Chan down in Houston. And around here, when I went to this place to buy this food, I saw how many of our people were coming with takeout from the Chinese restaurant. Now what I've done here is I've added some rosemary, some curry leaf, and some, this is moringa. I put some moringa in here to get rid of that porky smell. The question becomes is, where is the Chinese getting this meat from? Is it sourced in the United States, or is it imported from China? And how is it grown? Can we really trust anything? If you see how tilapia is grown in China, okay, you'd never eat tilapia. But a lot of our tilapia is coming from China. And the United States government is not protecting United States citizens from these things. No, they're not. They don't give a fuck. You know, Yellen went over to China and she was bowing before the Chinese Minister of Finance. She bowed to him. The same way Bush went to Saudi Arabia and bowed to Abdulaziz or whoever the damn king was at the time. But anyway, I'm over here making some caramelized pork. It'll be the best pork you ever tasted. And look at that, it's starting to break down. You understand? So I got it on that high fire. I got everything colored, because we don't like bland, we don't like just plain white. Except I want to get a white roof for my house. I want to finally have a white roof. I want to see what they're going to tell me when none of them You know, I was just having a thought about what's happening here in my neighborhood. And that's why I blanked out for a minute. But listen, this is what the food looks like. It's wonderful. It's going to be tasty. I have camouflaged the smell and the taste with different ingredients. That's going to give it a powerful taste. You know what I could even do? I could even go in here and see if we got some curry. Do we have curry? Caramel masala blend. You know, what else we got? We usually have curry in here. We usually have curry. And, you know, I could put a little cloves in it, but, well, yeah, let me put a clove. Let me put a clove. Yeah, clove is a good, oh, you know what I always want to do? Growing up, we had some clove plants, and my mother had a clove tree on my land, and she put some ignorant ass Haitians there, and they cut the fucking tree, and the man who was supposed to get me another tree, he died, and the other man who was a greedy old man who had a tree, he died too. But I'm going to figure out how to get me a clove plant, and I'm going to put it in my farm. Okay, so all this different, look at that, the damn thing just burnt me. The cover of this cover right here just burnt me. You should always wear proper clothing when you're cooking and when you're making fire. So there's cumin, there is, you know, I could even put a little turmeric in here, you know. I can put some turmeric. I got pure turmeric. Okay, look at that. Pure turmeric that I grew. You see? Look at it. Look at it. So what I'm gonna, and it's in here spoiling. It's basically spoiling. I mean, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slice some of it out. That's what curry is made out of. This is 100% organically grown turmeric, and they are actually starting to grow in this bag. Because I don't have no help, I don't have nobody to process it for me, but I'm going to plant it throughout the yard, so we'll always have it. We'll always have it. Okay, look at the fridge. It's got the basics, the staples, and the not so staples. What time is it? Oh my goodness, it's 11 o'clock. I should be getting ready to do I gotta write tonight, so I'm gonna probably stay up. I most likely stay up, you know, I don't know, either the alcohol gets to me first or I get to it. But I'm going to put some more turmeric in here because I notice as soon as I put the turmeric, it changes the smell and the flavor of the food and of the meat. So if you don't have, this is what the foundation of curry. That's what curry is. Curry is made out of this plant. Okay, so you can just use it like I'm using it naturally. Okay, so over here I'm gonna choke this a little bit more. I think it's ready. I'm going to give it a little high fire to get the turmeric to mix in. On this one, I'm going to put a little water because it is actually pretty dry. Okay, so if you're going to add water, you only want to do it towards the end, after the meat has given up all of its moisture. It's moisture. So it become like a, well, I don't want to say that, you know, I don't want to alienate anybody. Okay, so now I put some water in here. I got my turmeric in here. So what I'm going to do now is to raise the temperature over here. Raise the temperature over here for one last boil. Okay, so this is going to be raised. This is going to come to a boil. And then that's it. That's it. It's good. You don't take long to cook meat, you know. If you recognize how easy you get burnt when you put your hand in fire, how quick your skin get burnt, that's how quick you can cook meat. Okay? So I'm hoping these eggs are fully hard boiled I'm putting them up a little higher. My daughter Mia will always overcook them, but I don't want to overcook them. But I do want to like I say, get the turmeric in here and get it going. So I turn the temperature up a little bit. I turn the temperature up on the eggs because the way they are, I want to preserve them, so I don't mind them just cooking the hell out of them. I'm going to mix this up so all the flavors of the herbs, the rosemary. Oh, I keep forgetting the thyme. I got to bring some thyme in. Oh, thyme is wonderful. Thyme in your food, oh my goodness. Anyway, as always, you know I'm the best. You know I'm number one. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can keep getting informed. You can keep being enlightened about what's happening in the world today. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bowl. This, nowadays I only eat on China. I don't wait for Thanksgiving or Christmas to use my China. Because that means I'm going to die and I'm not going to get to really use it. So I'm going to get a little sample here. I'm going to sample this and then I'll let you know. If I'm still alive, if you get another video from me, that means the Chinese People's Liberation Army didn't succeed in killing me. The same way the Plano police have not yet succeeded in killing me. But other than that, I want you to know you must keep the faith. Know that I am with you always. And whenever you're in a tight position, you must ask yourself, not what would Jesus do, but what would Peter do? And I love the skin. Oh, I love the skin. I really love the skin. So, look at that. You see, I'm fucking things up. That's one thing I hate is fucking my floor up. Now I got to wash the rug and clean the floor. Oh. Oh. Oh, this is good. This is so fucking good. The best part is the skin. The best part is the skin. So anyway, it was my day today. And I spent it. Some of the roofers tried to attack me. I learned something about the neighborhood, what's going on with the roof replacements, and how the HOA and the board of directors have abdicated their responsibilities to the corporation. And they want to say, well, if you're replacing a roof and it's the same color. So anyway, I'm going to turn everything off and I'm going to begin to retire. But I tell you, this damn shit tastes so good. I don't care if it came from Sichuan or Shanghai or Shanghai. Oh. Not only am I eating with China, I'm also eating with sterling silver. Because you can't save your stuff. You have to use your stuff while you're alive and while you can. Anyway, I'll see you. Unless you want to hear me urinate. Would you like to hear me urinate? I'm going to go to the toilet and urinate right now. I always wonder, why did they put a toilet right next to the kitchen? Because I went to a place called in Stafford, Texas. There is a what's that place that serves breakfast all the time? And the kitchen and the toilet was right next to each other. So when you open the toilet door, all of that dirty poo-poo smell came out in the air and went in the kitchen. And I tried to file a complaint about it. And the man told me, that's just the way it is. What you call it again? It's not RB's, it's that damn place you all go to every time you're drunk after the club. Anyway, when I remember, I'll tell you. But you know what I'm talking about. It's that breakfast place. And they had a toilet right next to the kitchen. I couldn't understand that.